What did you just say? Adaku asked Hamiri to be very sure of what she heard. Because if it is what I heard, then it is an impossible mission. Hamiri smiled sheepishly. I said I want to have Ebuka all to myself. Hamiri repeated herself again as she stared at Adaku. Do you have a problem with my choice of man, Adaku? Hamiri added. What? No, it's just that Ebuka can't love any other lady in this village if you're not O.G.B.A.N.J.E. They have been friends from childhood, and I think they are also lovers. So you see where I was heading at. Adaku quickly explained to her daughter. I see. Hamiri mused to herself. We don't have much time again. Let us start going. By now, Okoro would be getting worried as I have not returned. Adaku said as she began walking towards the direction of her home, Hamiri following suit. Okoro was alone when Adaku and Hamiri walked into the compound. Uzochi and her twin sister Ugochi had followed O.G.B.A.N.J.E to Ibewe forest to fetch some firewood. Is she the person you've told me about? Okoro asked to be sure as he stared at beautiful girl in front of him. She must be older than O.G.B.A.N.J.E at least. She is beautiful. I hope my kindness won't bring me trouble. Okoro thought to himself as he answered the greetings from her. Yes, my dear, she is the one. Her name is Hamiri. Adaku said. Such a nice name. Okoro said, You are welcome, my daughter. I hope your journey with my wife wasn't stressful at all. Okoro added, No, it wasn't, Papa. I enjoyed the company of her. Hamiri said in pretense. Ugochi, Uzochi and O.G.B.A.N.J.E decided to make their appearance as they were seen coming back from Ibewe forest, where they had gone to fetch the firewood they would use for that day. Each girl has their own portion of firewood laid on their heads. Their father had earlier told them that they were going to have a visitor who was going to stay with them for the time being. The girls has to sweep, clean and arrange a hut that was beside Adaku's own for the said visitor, so they weren't surprised when they saw their father and Adaku with a strange lady with them. Okoro was the first who sighted them and announced proudly, Here comes my children. Go and drop those heaps of firewood in your head and come back. Greeting their father and mother, they all rushed to the back towards their kitchen to drop their firewood. Did you see the way the girl was looking at you, Ada? Uzochi was the first to break the silence that has engulfed them as soon as they entered the kitchen. Dropping their firewood where it is usually kept, Ugochi turned to face her sisters. I also saw it, my sister. The way the girl was staring at our Ada, you'd think she wanted Ada dead. Ugochi answered sheepishly. You both are imagining things. How can a girl I barely know would want to do as you have said? O.G.B.A.N.J.E asked. It is simply unbelievable. Didn't you notice how pretty she is? I am nowhere near her league, she added. I don't know why mother would bring in such a girl to us to live with. I don't like that girl sitting with Papa and Mama, Ugochi said. Is it only you? I just pray she doesn't stay too long in our house. And Ada, you are more beautiful than her, 100 times. Even a blind man would know you are the morning sun. If you want to compare her beauty with someone else, you can do that with me. Uzochi reprimanded O.G.B.A.N.J.E. Yes, I am in support with my twin sister. Ada is more beautiful than her. Ugochi said in support to what her sister has said. O.G.B.A.N.J.E smiled at her sister's lovely. We should not jump into conclusion yet. For all we know, the girl might be a good person. O.G.B.A.N.J.E said, trying to reason with them, but to no avail. Not with the kind of eyes she feasted on you back there. I am not blind. Her eyes was filled with hatred, Uzochi said, adamant with what she saw. Okay, let us head back to see what father wants from us. O.G.B.A.N.J.E finally said when she saw that Uzochi wouldn't be convinced otherwise. They left the kitchen. Truth be told, O.G.B.A.N.J.E had seen it, but decided to leave it at that. After all, she hasn't met the lady, neither has she offended her before. Okoro started off the introduction by introducing them to her and her to them respectively. After that, Adaku took Hamiri to her new hut. Papa, I want to visit Ebuka. I will be back before Adaku starts preparing our meals. Ada, stop referring to your stepmother by her given name Biko, Okoro said gently. I will only stop if she also stops calling me O.G.B.A.N.J.E. O.G.B.A.N.J.E replied her father, I have told her she won't ever call you that name. Now make sure you returned as you promised. You can go, Okoro said softly. Okoro knew that if Adaku wouldn't stop calling Ada O.G.B.A.N.J.E, then Ada wouldn't stop calling her by her given name. He wouldn't blame O.G.B.A.N.J.E after all. It was Adaku who had started it in the first place. O.G.B.A.N.J.E saw the look Hamiri was given her but chose to ignore it. What is wrong with this girl? O.G.B.A.N.J.E thought as she went towards the road leading to Nena's compound. Adaku was surprised when she saw a not-so-good look on Uhamiri's face. "Oh, Genie, what is it?" Adaku asked Uhamiri. "Did Ogbanje challenge you?" "No, she dare not," Uhamiri answered. "Then why that sour face on you?" Adaku questioned. "That girl carries a bag of beauty around her. She is so beautiful to the core, haven't you noticed it?" Uhamiri said out of blue. Adaku looked at her in surprised and shocked. "Are you trying to saying Ogbanje looks more beautiful than you?" Adaku said with her eyebrows lifted up. Uhamiri didn't answer. "I will ruin her beauty for her that Ebuka will reject her," Uhamiri told Adaku in a very serious tone. "Can you really succeed in this mission of yours, Uhamiri? Because if only her beauty has done this to you, that means seeing her powers and the stuff she is really made of would make you go mad." Adaku told Uhamiri. The look Uhamiri threw on her made Adaku scared. "You don't know me that much, Adaku. You just watch and see how I will kill Ogbanje and have Ebuka all to myself. I pray you would live to see that day." "There is something odd about that girl," Ebuka began softly. "There is something she is hiding." As soon as Ogbanje came, she assisted Nena with the cooking and helped her dish out the food of cooked plantain with palm oil, red oil. They soon finished eating. Ebuka and Ogbanje left for his hut. He brought out a mat and lay it in his frontage and they sat down. Ogbanje laid her head on his laps and narrated what had transpired in her house. "I know she must be hiding something from us, and my gut tells me Adaku also know that secret," Ogbanje said. "You have to be very careful in whatever you are doing now," Ebuka said as he kissed Ada on her forehead in a lovable way. "It is one of the reasons why I am also here too." With a confused look on Ebuka's face, Ogbanje elaborated more. "You need to see the way she looked at me when I mentioned your name. It is you that should be careful and not me. She can't do anything to me. But I will ask my brother to keep an eye on her. Speaking about my brothers, has Ikenga disturbed you again?" "Oh, I forgot to tell you what he did the other day to me." Ogbanje quickly narrated what had happened between she and Ikemefuna. "He did what?" Ebuka shouted. "Hush, your mother will hear you. Not only did he forcefully kiss me, he also said he knows about you and me and we know he is Ikenga," Ogbanje said. "He has eaten more than he can chew. If I don't kill him with my ba," cutting him off with one of her fingers resting in his lips. "Don't say a thing like that. Remember, he is your brother. We shall prevail against every evil sent to us. They are only jealous of what they cannot have. Our love shall prevail all," Ogbanje said with a smile. Ebuka smiled. "I love you, Alaolisa. I love you, Amadioha." Nena smiled at those words. She was hiding behind her son's hut. The time is coming for them to know about the ancient secret. Nena stared at the two lovers and nodded her head to herself. She has to tell them the ancient secret she was swore to keep by Chidinma, Ogbanje's late mother, and Okoro. She felt the time has come for them to know the whole truth. She quickly left as quietly as she had came before. Her only fears was if Ebuka and Ogbanje would be able to face it. She hoped they prevailed. She would reveal the ancient secret to them sooner or later. Saying her goodbyes to Ebuka and his mother, Ogbanje left for her home. On getting home, Ogbanje was surprised and shocked when she saw that the food has already been prepared. In fact, everyone was eating together. Maybe her father had wanted Uhamiri to feel comfortable with them, thus having everyone eating together. Seeing the look on Ogbanje's face, Okoro smiled at her. "My beautiful daughter, come and eat with us," Okoro said with a smile as he stared up at Ogbanje. Uzochi and Ugochi were busy eating with enthusiasm that they didn't even notice Ogbanje's presence. "But father, I thought you said I should hurry up to join Adaku and my sisters in preparing the evening meal," Ogbanje said. "Yes, I did, but your mother insisted right away that she wanted to start preparing the meal immediately, with Uhamiri and your sisters, and you know I cannot object to it," Okoro explained to Ogbanje. "I see," she mused to herself. "Won't you eat Ada?" Uhamiri asked. "No, I have already had my fill in Ebuka's place some few minutes ago." Ogbanje replied and was very pleased when her words had an effect on her. They started staring belatedly at each other. Uhamiri smiled to herself. Ogbanje smirked down at her. She now know what she need to know. Uhamiri has set her eyes on her Ebuka. Uhamiri better wake up from that dream of hers. No one can have Ebuka except her. No one seemed to know the inter-exchange between them all, except Adaku, who had noticed it all. "Won't you join us to eat?" Okoro repeated himself again. No, Papa, thank you. I ate enough in Ebuka's home that would last for me till tomorrow, Ogbanje replied. Okay, Nin, I won't force you to eat, Ada, but I am done eating too, Okoro said, and stood up to stare at the silent faces on him. Ignoring the faces, he announced to them, said softly, I am at the back of the house to think, he simply added, and left them. Everywhere was quiet until the twins decided to break it. You and this your Ebuka, I pray to the gods that he will marry you. Uzochi suddenly throw in, pray? Did you just said pray to the gods? Don't you know that Ebuka and Ada are meant for each other? And without Ada by his side, Ebuka won't live. Ugochi followed her twin. Obviously, the twin somehow knew some was eating up the new girl in their midst and was trying to trick her to see if they are right. And true, Uhamiri didn't fail to disappoint them. Nodding their heads and knowing the thoughts they had, Ugochi and Uzochi decided to bring Ebuka's name at every discussion. Ogbanje, not knowing what the twins were up to, got flattered by what they said. She smiled haughty at them. Stop it, who told you that? Ogbanje said shyly. Who doesn't know that Ebuka has his eyes feasted only for you in this village? Ugochi said, turning to look at Uhamiri when she said those words. And being beautiful, the only pretty maiden in Udum proves it so. Don't you know that there are many dying to be in your shoes, or rather be you? Uzochi said as she specifically stared at Uhamiri as she spoke. Uhamiri stood up angrily, and without uttering a word to any of them, including Adaku, she left them going inside her hut. The twins burst out laughing at the retreating back of Uhamiri. Stupid girls, why did you upset our visitor? This should be the first and last time you would repeat such a thing. Adaku warned them, stood up, and walking past Ogbanje, she hissing at her, then entered the hut Uhamiri is. What was that for? Ogbanje asked her sisters as they continued laughing. Don't you know that this newcomer has her eyes on your Ebuka? Are you so blind that you did not see her reaction when you mentioned you ate in his home? Ugochi said. So just thank us that we chased her away for you, said Uzochi as she packed the plates they had used in eating and left to go and wash it, her twin following in suit. Ogbanje shook her head sideways and went to meet Okoro at the back of his hut. A sound of flute was heard. They had the audacity to make fun of me, Uhamiri. I will show them the true nature in me, Uhamiri said to herself as she paced around in her little hut. An oil lamp brightened up the hut a little. Adaku entered and saw Uhamiri moving about. I know you are greatly annoyed by the way your sisters treated you. On their behalf, I plead with you to forgive them. Adaku immediately begged on the twins' behalf. No, I can't easily forgive them like that. They must pay for making gist out of me. Uhamiri fumed back. They are your younger sisters. Please do not take whatever they said to you at heart, Biko. Adaku still pleaded. No, they dare taunt me. I know what to do with them. I want to test Ogbanje to know the kind of powers Ogbanje possesses, Uhamiri said. Ogbanje sat beside Okoro as he blew his flute. The stars were at their brightest. It was as if they were moving with the sound of his flute. He always played his flute whenever he thinks of her mother. Okoro suddenly stopped his flute playing and turned to look at his daughter. Ada, what do you think about the Kapakpando stars? Okoro asked out of blue. Kapakpando stars? I don't understand you, Papa, Ogbanje said in confusion. When you look up at the stars in the sky, what are your first thought? Asked Okoro as he looked at her in seriousness. Ogbanje bewildered by that question but turned her head upward to look at it. Everything was normal and shiny all except for one. It was all alone. Unlike the others that was shining, this particular star wasn't shiny. Ogbanje watched it. Okoro cleared his throat to draw Ogbanje's back to him. The stars are beautifully made by our creator. But Papa, pointing upwards, why is that star not like the others? I mean, mere looking at it, you'd see it is lonely and not shining like the rest. Why is that, Papa? Ogbanje questioned. One day you shall know the story behind that star, Okoro said out of blue. Meaning? Don't worry, Ada. It isn't time yet, and beside I will not be the one to tell you. Now watch the star when I play back my flute, Okoro told her. Ogbanje nodded her head, but still held a look of confusion, turned her gaze back to the not-so-shining star with vigor. Okoro brought the flute to his lips and started playing a strange tune Ogbanje hasn't heard before. To Ogbanje's greatest surprise, the once not-so-shining star started glowing and suddenly outshined the rest, Kapakpando stars. Papa, it is glowing! Ogbanje said in enthusiasm. Okoro stopped blowing his flute, and at the same time the star went back to the way it was. Ogbanje was startled at what she just witnessed and turned the confused eyes on her father. "Papa, what just happened now?" Okoro smiled lovely his daughter. "Like I have told you, Ada, it is not my story to tell. Go and sleep, Ada." Soon all the inhabitants of Udum was asleep save for Uhamiri, who journeyed outside the outskirts of Udum village towards an unknown destination. O.G.B.A.N.J.E woke up suddenly and stared around her hut. She quickly get down from her bamboo bed, opening the door that leads outside. She came out from her hut and stood in the middle of the compound. "Something is coming down here, and you have to be prepared." The voice that usually speak to her and tell her what to do spoke again. O.G.B.A.N.J.E smiled when she heard the voice. She knew it was Ebuka, he is with her. The voice spoke again, telling her what she was to do to, obeying Amadioha's voice. O.G.B.A.N.J.E freed her mind, closing her eyes, relaxing her mind. She listens. She felt it. It was coming towards the compound. She quickly opened up her eyes to see the very thing that she saw a few miles away, standing in front of the compound. It was Beast, a hideous creature, a human black shadow beast, a black shadow beast in human form. It walked straight inside the compound. O.G.B.A.N.J.E took her stand and stared at it with vehemence, but was knocked over with feather when the human beast walked past her, undeviating towards the hut of the twins. "But how come he didn't see me?" O.G.B.A.N.J.E thought to herself as the creature approached the twins' hut. It was moving so slowly. O.G.B.A.N.J.E quickly went and stood over the twins' hut. "I made it like this so that you would see the enemy first. Now repeat what you did the first time." Ebuka's voice echo around her them, closing her eyes, relaxing her mind. She listens. "Open your eyes now. Be prepared, he will notice your presence." O.G.B.A.N.J.E did as she was told. Uhamiri went back to her cave. She took a black egg from a black bowl and speak some words into it. Breaking it, a black substance in a smoky form emerged from it, and a creature black as the night itself made its appearance. "You are her first challenge. Kill them with no mercy. Ugochi and Uzochi must die this night. I want to see her prowess and the stuff she's made of. If she will be able to defeat you, then her powers are a bit higher." Uhamiri told the creature of the night, which nodded its head and vanished. "Good. If O.G.B.A.N.J.E would be able to save her stepsisters from death, then she is a little bit strong. Let the drummers beat their drums of war. She only have to wait and see the outcome of it all." As soon as O.G.B.A.N.J.E did what she was told to do, she finally opened up her eyes as Amadioha had instructed. The creature halted in its movement and with inhuman powers faced the presence standing in front of her. Even from where she stood, she could scent the horrible whiff it brings. The air around them had been polluted. O.G.B.A.N.J.E realized that the creature was faceless. "You will go back to where you've been sent from. You will not touch anybody in this compound. Go back to sender." O.G.B.A.N.J.E told the creature, but was baffled when the creature didn't carry out her orders as she expected. It only stood in front of her and didn't move. It uttered a word, "Kill," and advanced towards O.G.B.A.N.J.E. O.G.B.A.N.J.E with courage wanted to advance towards the creature, but was prevented from going forward when the sound of thunder was heard above the sky. Lightning came out of nowhere and strikes down at the creature. The creature screamed so horribly. It screeched hysterically before being scattered to pieces and disappeared. O.G.B.A.N.J.E was surprised that its shout didn't wake up any members of her family. "I covered their ears so that they would hear that horrible scream." Amadioha's fainted voice said, "Go back to sleep, my dear." "But why didn't it hearken to my voice when I said it should return to sender?" O.G.B.A.N.J.E questioned. "When we see, I will tell you the reason why. For now, go and sleep." O.G.B.A.N.J.E obliged to the words and left for her hut. Uhamiri, holding her left arm as it removed blood, was speechless. What just happened? Uhamiri was surprised when thunder and lightning started. Not quite long afterwards, the creature she had sent was killed. Her left arm that was bleeding confirmed one of her creatures was dead. Whispering some words to herself, the wounds afflicted on her healed. This just showed that O.G.B.A.N.J.E won't be as easy as she had thought. Uhamiri smiled. Just like what Adaku had told Ezenwai and her, O.G.B.A.N.J.E is truly her match, so she has to tread in caution. O.G.B.A.N.J.E's kingdom. I thought by now you'd return O.G.B.A.N.J.E memories to her. I told you that we are now in a tough time, and O.G.B.A.N.J.E needs her old powers she wields to defeat the evil that would always confront her. Amadioha bellowed at the queen, not hiding his anger. If I wasn't there, the creature sent to kill Ogbanje's sisters would have also killed her too. The queen, not affected by his anger, one bit, looked surprised. Did you mean to say my daughter was attacked? Nodding his head to signify his answer. You can go now. I will return her memories back to her. I hope you will do as you have said. With that, Amadioha left her presence. The queen appeared in Ogbanje room. She made her presence unknown. She placed her both hands on Ogbanje's forehead, and a shimmering light appeared. Ogbanje didn't know what was going on, but the queen mother knew that Amadioha was watching over her. Truly, Amadioha was watching over her, and so was the star.